The following presentation is for mature audiences only.
Who are you?
He's a fine man.
All hell is broken loose.
He's a great broadcaster.
He's a very powerful guy. Absolutely brilliant.
Feared by men, adored by women.
He's a smart boy.
It's patriotic.
It's no big deal.
It's the end of the world.
I might as well tell you now. He's a monkey.
And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome into another edition of The Wyldeside with Eric Clark. I am your host, Eric Clark, saying thank you for taking time out of your day to hang out with me and Charlie on the east side of Music City, USA. Make sure you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button for the live stream. Smash the like button for the algorithm. If you have a band, song, or a video you'd like me to check out, the best place to get me your suggestion is over at the Discord server. Left-hand side, YouTube reaction requests, read the pinned message. These moderators put a lot of work in here. Read the pinned message, drop a link, brief description of your video, and I will get to it when I can. Thank you to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Today's video suggestion is coming from Aura81295. Probably not going to have a lot of note-taking on this track. I'm very familiar with it. They would like my reaction to the Canadian genius that is GordonLightfoot, who recently passed away. And they said, we would like your thoughts on the classic, The Wreck of the EdmundFitzgerald. So today, we're jumping into the Wayback Machine, and I will be sitting in the back of my dad's AMC Rambler station wagon as we listen to GordonLightfoot's The Wreck of the EdmundFitzgerald, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. Hello, Charlie. Hello. Let's chill out and jam to some classic folk music. You can smell that car. Smells like push electric cigarette lighter. I might cry.
The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the EdmundFitzgerald weighed empty. That good ship and true was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and good captain well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when they left fully loaded for Cleveland. Then later that night when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling? The wind in the wires made a tattletale sound, and the wave broke over the railing. And every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. The dawn came late and the breakfast had to wait when the gales of November came slashing. When afternoon came, it was freezing rain in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed you. 7 p.m. a main hatchway caved in. He said, fellas, it's been good to know ya. The captain wired in, he had water coming in, and the good ship and crew was in peril. And later that night when his lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the EdmundFitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. They might have split up or they might have capsized. They may have broke deep and took water. And all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives and the sons and the daughters. Lake Huron rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. The islands and bays are for sportsmen. And farther below, Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. The iron boats go as the mariners all know, with the gales of November remembered. Musty old hall in Detroit, they prayed in the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the EdmundFitzgerald. And the legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early.
Oh, that is a rough listen. I'm going to tell you that right now, my man. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by the Canadian genius songwriter, the late Gordon Lightfoot. I was just sitting in the back of a station wagon, cruising on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, listening to that with my family in the car. That's an emotional connection, isn't it? You know, I've been a metalhead, God, since before my teenage years, but there's something about great songwriter. Sorry, Charlie's a little spoiled. He thinks he can go wherever he wants. That's what makes a great songwriter so great, is the ability to cut through any pretense or labeling, any preferences or labeling. You know, I'm this guy, I'm a that guy, whatever. A great song like this, not just musically, but lyrically, well written, the imagery of this track is brilliant. The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, true story. I'll go ahead and look it up. I don't have all the details with me, but it is a true story. And I say this about there's a song by the band America. And folkies, there was this folk rock movement in the 70s that were really good about doing things like this, and Gordon Lightfoot was the forefront of it. You know, Jim Croce, America, Gordon Lightfoot. The stories they tell on top of the music they write is so brilliant that it suspends time for you. It defeats any preferences you may have. You hear the song, you listen to the lyrics, you're there. Because you as a music lover appreciate good music. What I find not funny, ha-ha, but more funny, peculiar, is the psychology of a great song. Here's how much of a genius Gordon Lightfoot was. Gordon Lightfoot wrote a song about 29 people losing their life. Two things. Number one, you are emotionally connected to those sailors. Fellas, it's been good to know you. These are very simple lines. You know, there's a reason keep it simple, stupid is a idiom in our language. Because it's simple, yet so powerful. There's that line about, you know, minutes turn into hours. Excuse me. There's a reason I joined the Army and not the Navy. It's because of songs like this and speeches like Quinn's and Jaws. There's a reason I joined the Army and not the Navy. Because the number two thing, you are emotionally connected to these sailors and their families. So when the church bell rings 29 times, hopefully 30 now, they really do need to make it 30 for the Edmund Fitzgerald. Gordon Lightfoot needs to be a part of that crew now, since he has passed. He's the 30th bell ring. The thing about that track, similarly to America's Horse with No Name, you're listening to a song about the demise of 29 people, and it's such a good song that you sing along to it. Even though your heart is breaking, even though you're emotionally distraught, you still find that glimmer of love that you have for music. Even though, like I said, America's Horse with No Name, dude, you're listening to a guy dying of thirst, and you're singing along to it. That's how good of a song that is. You're listening to the true tragic tale of 29 real people, and you now have taken ownership of those emotions. That is how good Gordon Lightfoot was. From Sundown, You Could Read My Mind, Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. These are personally connectable songs that make them stand out for eternity. This will always be a perfect song. And I say it rocks. So I don't like labels. I don't like classic rock, alternative or so, whatever. I don't like them. If it rocks, it rocks. Now, you ask, what do you mean it rocks? That song rocks. That's a jam, bro. It musically, let's just strip away the emotional connection you make to that track. Musically speaking, it's beautiful. It's perfect. The mood, the atmosphere, the temperature, the texture of that music, perfect. That's why Gen X is so bitter, because this is what we grew up with. We grew up with perfect songwriting. That's folk rock, but it rocks. It's a great track. Just like Sundown, these are great. You want to fire up Gen X, man, you slap this on. Immediately, I am in a DeLorean going back to the 1970s, sitting in the car with my family, smelling my dad's Winston as he lights it with the car lighter. That's right, kids. There was a time there were actual lighters in cars. So that's how good of a songwriter Gordon Lightfoot was. He could write a song about 29 people losing their lives, and I cry because I remember the smell of my dad lighting his cigarette with a car lighter. And he passed away last week. So it is hitting a little harder for me because I grew up with my dad jamming these songs. It is my foundation. Sitting in that car, listening to these songs as we drove around and just did whatever. So that's what is the standard. So when people always ask me, what do you think of this? What do you think of that? This is what I'm putting it up against. These memories, these tangible memories. I can smell that cigarette. I can taste the Carvel ice cream that we went and got listening to these things. I can taste the Jimmies. I know the sprinkles, whatever you want to call them. So Gordon Lightfoot is who he is and holds the esteem that he holds. That's the work of a genius right there. So thank you very much, Aura 81295, for those wonderful memories. As heartbreaking as they were for me to sit through, it's a beautiful song. I love the memories. I'm glad I have existed during a time when music like this was made. So thank you very much, Aura. 81295. And if you have a suggestion for a band song video, if you'd like to make me cry, head over to the Discord server, left-hand side, YouTube reaction requests, read the pinned message, leave a link with a brief description. I will get to your suggestion when I can. Make sure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification button. Smash that like button. Thank you to Connect 200 Music to See and Aunt Betty's Nut Butter. Thank you to all of you for taking time out of your busy day to hang out with us on the east side of Music City, USA. Make sure you're looking out for each other. Make sure you're looking out for your neighbor. Try to do at least one good thing a day. I am Eric Clark, and this is The Wild Side.